Strike a chord, turn the future on. Ava Bently's heart still sings every song. From broken silence to a brand new sound. Strike a chord where her comeback's found.
What if I told you one medical mistake could steal your voice? I'm Ava Bently. I sang for fun, dreaming of country stages. Then a devastating medical error damaged my vocal cords, and sometime later, heart failure silencing that dream in an instant. But I refused to let that be the end of my story. I discovered something revolutionary, AI, that could bring my music to life. Today, I'm not just singing again, I'm shaping history as an AI-powered female country artist. Using cutting-edge AI tools, I craft lyrics, shape melodies, and produce fully realized songs from my ideas. Collaborating with technology the way an artist collaborates with a producer. My musicianship guides every choice. My voice was taken, but my artistry found a new way to soar. This isn't just about tech, it's about my resilience, reinvention, and the power of creativity to overcome loss, even heart failure. My story shows how innovation can amplify the human spirit and open doors I never imagined. Ready to hear what the future of country music sounds like? Stream my AI-created songs on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and all major platforms. Then share, follow, and become part of the next chapter in music history. Don't just witness history, listen to it.
Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Ava Bently, and this is Put a Mic in It. And we have Keith Bradford on the podcast with us today, and of course, my lovely assistant, Dave Warner. We've been doing a lot of work with Keith, and I really wanted him to come on the show and talk about his backstory. I am so excited to have had the opportunity to meet Keith, and now me, Keith, and Dave are working together on a few projects, which we'll talk about. But without further ado, Keith, thank you for joining us today. So happy to have you here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your backstory? We want to get to know you.
Well, that's a very loaded question.
Come on, Keith. It's a half-hour show.
It's a very loaded question because you want me to start all the way back at 8 years
Yes, I
old
do.
with piano lessons or what?
I do. I want to know everything.
Well, my parents thought that I should have piano lessons at 8 years old. And an 8-year-old boy where I came from didn't take piano lessons. They played baseball and basketball and football, but the last thing they did is play a musical instrument in the town that I lived in. It was a sports town. But at 8 years old, they got me taking piano lessons from the organist at the church. She was already an elderly lady. And I got to make this really short. Like Dave said, it's only a half-hour show. And then I got to go on to Nashville and all the rest of the stuff. But we had a tree in our yard. They were called pig nuts. And if you're not familiar, if you Google pig nuts, you'll see what they look like. They're the same dimensions, the same size as a hazelnut, but they come in a husk. And they fall on the ground, and all the kids in the neighborhood would come around, and they would peel these husks off to get the pig nut on the inside.
Those are called walnuts up here, Keith. Those are called walnuts up here.
No, these are not walnuts.
I've never heard of pig nuts. All right.
They're called pig nuts. And
all
you
right.
can Google it. But anyway, when you do, your fingers look like you've dipped them in a gallon of iodine.
Oh, wow.
And I went to my piano lesson, and this poor lady had this beautiful baby grand piano that the kids practiced on. And there I was on her beautiful white ivory keys with my hands full of this stain that looked like I had dipped him in a gallon of iodine. Well, that was my last piano lesson.
Oh, good Lord.
But right before that, we had our first piano recital, and all the other students had been taking lessons for years ahead of me. And I had only been taking piano lessons for maybe 2 or 3 months, and it was time for our first piano recital that they held at the high school where we lived. And after all those lessons, I had only mastered one song, Jingle Bells. And the recital was in the middle of June.
Jeez.
So I had to go out there in my little tuxedo that they provided for us. And I had to play my Jingle Bells. And it was the first taste of show business. I got a rounding set of applause, and it just, that I got the bite. I got the fever for show business by playing Jingle Bells at my first piano recital. So you asked, how did I get started? That's how I got started, by playing Jingle Bells at a piano recital. Wow. Then, if you want to advance the clock a little further, I formed my first country band. We were playing in all the bars. I like to tell people that we played anywhere and everywhere that they would have us. I mean, the country band, we were opening for Donna Fargo. Remember her, Happiest Girl in the Whole USA?
Yeah.
All those string of hits that she had. We were opening for her, and this gentleman came up out of the audience after the show, and he said, I really like the sound of your voice, and he said, I want you to come and visit me at my shop, and we can talk about maybe hiring you to do some demos for me. Well, you know how many times I heard stuff like that, and nothing ever came of it. I didn't even know who he was. His name was Jimmy Crane. He only wrote 7 #1 pop hits, including Hurt for Elvis Presley, Juice Newton, Timmy Euro. He wrote everything Eddie Fisher ever recorded. If I Ever Needed You, I Need You Now. Doris Day, If I Give My Heart to You, which was in Crocodile Dundee. And here's this guy inviting me to his place, which ends up being Colonial Novelty Jewelry Company on Elm Street in Providence, Rhode Island. And I didn't know what Colonial Novelty Jewelry Company was. I had no idea they provided all the jewelry for Avon.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, when you were selling Avon and you won prizes and it was jewelry? That was this guy's company that made all that.
Wow.
That's what he did, quote unquote, for a living. Even though he was making $100,000 a year in royalties as a songwriter, he still had to have a living.
Well, you know.
And I tattletale on him all the time. The man's dead. He's no longer with us. But I tattletale on him all the time because in 1966, when I met him, he made like over $600,000 in royalty that year. And in 1967, he was bankrupt.
Oh, my God.
He spent it all at the track.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
He loved the ponies. And he spent it all at the track. But anyway, okay, this is how I got to Nashville. I was doing demos for him like he promised that he would hire me to do demos. And we were in the studio, and we took a lunch break, and he was out in the lobby, and he was reading the New York Times, and he said, Keith, look at this. He said, there's some kind of an outfit in Nashville that's auditioning singers. It says they're looking for young people who are singers, dancers, light men, audio men, comedians, dancers. And it was a big ad, and it was for this outfit called Opryland that I had never heard of in my life. Never even knew there was such a place. And the picture looked like a big carnival. It had rides, and that's what the poster on the ad looked like. It didn't look like some kind of a stage show or something. It looked like some big, huge carnival or amusement park, which it was, an amusement park. but it was a music amusement park. Anyway, I had a Dodge Dart with 4 ball tires and no gas in the tank, and he wanted me to drive to New York City to go audition for this place called Opryland. I said, Jimmy, I just can't do it. He said, well, how about if I buy you a train ticket? I said, well, that'll work. So I got myself to the train station, and he put me on a train and sent me to Harlequin Rehearsal Studios. And this is long enough ago, folks. West Side Story, Calcutta. These were playing on Broadway at the time. And I was looking at these signs. I had never been to New York City in my life, and I had to take a cab from Grand Central Station over to this place called Harlequin Rehearsal Studios. And it was in the dead of winter. And there was a line all the way around the building like a jelly roll out on the sidewalk. And inch by inch, you finally got into this building where there was a table with 6 judges sitting there. And I had my guitar with me. And they said, okay, go ahead and show us what you're going to do. I said, well, I'm going to sing a song by Merle Haggard called Silver Wings. And I sang the first verse and chorus of it. And they said, okay, that's enough. And the one judge was pretty light in his feet, said, is that the only voice you've got? And I thought, surely to goodness, he was making fun of me because he didn't like my voice. And I said, well, sir, that's the way I sing. He said, no, can you do any other voices? I said, well, I can do a verse and a chorus of Waltz Across Texas by Ernest Tubb. And he said, proceed. So I went and sang the first verse and chorus of Waltz Across Texas, and they just fell out of their chairs. They're in New York City, for goodness sakes. They're not in Alabama or Mississippi or Arkansas. They're in New York City, and this kid is up there singing like Ernest Tubb. Well, I was such a freak. It was such a difference from what everyone else was doing on their auditions. They were just rolling on the floor, and they said, can you come back tomorrow? Or as they call it in show business, callbacks. Mm-hmm. Well, that I wasn't expecting. I thought I was going to get on the train and go back home and be denied. So everyone was staying at the Roosevelt Hotel, which was in walking distance of the Harlequin Rehearsal Studio. The next day I went back. I had already passed the singing audition. So now I've got to find out a way to pass the dancing audition. I never danced a step in my life. All I ever did is play in bands, including when I was in the Navy. I was even in the country band in the Navy. I never danced a step in my life. And the choreographer was a woman, and the first thing that we had to dance was the Charleston.
Okay.
And then they went and we had to dance the jitterbug, and we had to dance the polka, and we had to clog. And I had no idea, literally, I had no idea what I was doing.
Did you say clog? She made you clog?
We had to do clogging, yes.
That's harsh.
You know what? Those are some cool dances, though. I mean,
Evidently,
it's hard. I don't even know if I can do it.
Evidently, they wanted me badly enough, based on the strength of my voice. They wanted me bad enough. She was grabbing a hold of my legs and moving my feet to the proper steps. I mean, she was literally grabbing my legs and moving them back and forth to the steps of the Charleston so that I could get through the audition and get hired.
Wow.
Well, about an hour of that nonsense went by, and it was time to take a break. And the head knocker, the main guy that was sitting at the table, said, "You're going to have to sign a contract." Now, this audition was in the dead of winter of 1977.
So how old were you then, Keith?
I was married with 3 kids.
Wow.
I ended up being the oldest performer in the park.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But even when I was married with 3 kids, I still looked like a teenager.
As you do now.
Yeah.
Well, at 77, I'm not going to say I look good, but at 77, I'm holding my own. I'm very healthy.
You sure are, Keith. You're rocking it.
And I said, what do I have to sign a contract for? He says, well, for one thing, you're going to be having to move to Nashville. Now, bear in mind, I'm living in Rhode Island when all this is taking place. I said, move to Nashville? Are you crazy? I can't move to Nashville. He says, well, what are you going to do? Commute from Providence, Rhode Island, and Nashville every day to come do your shows? He said, you're going to be doing 5 shows a day, 6 days a week.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. $175 a week is what we got paid.
Oh, my God.
Gracious.
That's what they paid us. We worked 6 days a week, 5 shows a day, 1-hour shows.
You able to feed your family off of that?
Just back then, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's 1977.
I don't think $175 was worth that much.
I don't know. I was 3 years old, 4, almost 4. Yeah.
So anyway, that was 77. Every year they signed me back on, 77, 78, 79, 80. The 4 years that I played in the Country Music USA show. Now, the Country Music USA show was so popular that in 76, Roy Clark decided he wanted to take the Country Music USA show with him to Russia. So I missed it by 1 season. I didn't get to go to Russia by 1 season.
Wow.
And Cynthia Rhodes was in that cast from Flashdance. There was kids in that park that were going on to major stepping stones, so to speak, in Hollywood and in Vegas, and because these talent scouts would come to the park on a daily basis. Every time you did a show, you never knew, for one moment, you never knew who was sitting in that audience watching you. In fact, that's my segue to how did I get on the Grand Ole Opry. One of my impersonations was Roy Acuff. And I had a fiddle in one hand and a yo-yo in the other hand because, you know, he always had a yo-yo on the Grand Ole Opry. He did yo-yo tricks and balanced the fiddle on the tip of his nose when he said, you know, his biggest hit, of course, Wabash Cannonball. But anyway, big enough hit that one of the rides was called the Wabash Cannonball. It was a roller coaster in the park. First show was at 11 a.m. I'm out there with a fiddle and a bow in one hand, a yo-yo up and down in the other, and I'm singing the chorus of Wabash Cannonball. I look out on the front row, and who's sitting out there with a Coca-Cola and a box of popcorn? Roy Acuff, watching me impersonate him.
Oh, my God. That's too much.
That's awesome.
He's sitting there watching me impersonate him. So after the show, he comes backstage and he says, young man, you have watched and listened very, very, very closely to me. He says, there's been many impersonators before you that have tried to impersonate me, but nobody has ever come as close to what I sound like than what you just did, what I just watched you do. He said, as a matter of fact, I'm impressed enough. How would you like to be my guest this Saturday night on the Grand Ole Opry?
Wow.
I said, what do you mean your guest? You mean to meet you in your dressing room? He said, no, I want you to come on my portion of the show and sing a song.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he said, be in my dressing room, which was dressing room number 1, the closest one to the stage. Be in my dressing room at 7 o'clock. I was there at 6. Trust me, I wasn't
I
going
would
to
be too.
miss this. I was there at 6 o'clock. I got on that stage, my knees knocking, my mouth felt like it was full of cotton, and I sang my first song on the Grand Ole Opry as Roy Acuff's guest.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you know, it's such an incredible backstory. And the reason I wanted you to tell us that, because since I met Keith, which I've really only known you a few months since, you know, Ava has been rising, you know, through the stardom process, and you've been a real instrumental piece, and of course Dave is, but Dave and I go so far back. But you've been so instrumental, and, you know, first it was you and I started working together. Now you and Dave and I work together on various projects. But what I really want people to know is, and I wanted them to hear this story, is not only have you done all of that and you've, you know, gone through all of this, you know, aspect of the music and how you got your start in it and working with, you know, the stars throughout the years and the Grand Ole Opry, which is, of course, a dream of mine, and you wrote a nice song about that. But, you know, I think that, you know, now I'm so impressed, and you talked about your age being 77, and Dave, I know you're not too far away.
I'm 63, for crying out loud. Don't lie to these people.
You're further away than I thought. But what's impressive is you are also using AI. And of course, everyone knows I am, you know, the world first female AI country music artist, which is how, you know, Keith and I came to meet. But I'm so impressed with your ability to use modern, you know, technology and moving into this AI space and everything you're doing with the Nashville Mimics. Oh, by the way, we're going to be, you know, soon on, you know, network TV as soon as we get our premiere dates. I'm now starring on the Nashville Mimics, but that is Keith's you know, creation, and it's such an honor for me to have started working with you, that, you know, with the Nashville Mimics, and now, you know, a star of your show. And of course, you know, people are now hearing about the AI Opry that I'm now emceeing or hosting, working with Keith yet again. And so it's just so exciting. So I want to talk a little bit about, how did you get into AI music and AI production, not just with music, but with you know, now television, or these shows that, you know, we're putting out on YouTube, Vimeo, and now the latest Roku Studio 25 music channel.
As of yesterday.
Network TV. So, I mean, we've come a long way in a short period of time, but these were your creations. So maybe tell us a little bit about how you discovered AI and started working with it.
Well, you know, AI was around before AI was even mentioned in the music business, but it was in a different form. You know, we've had auto tuners for years in the recording studio, and you'd go to see somebody in concert and they'd suck. You know, they sounded terrible. They didn't sound anything like their records. And why? Because they were fixed. Well, they didn't call it AI, artificial intelligence, but dadgummit, when you fix something electronically and digitally to enhance somebody's vocal to make them sound like they don't really sound. Yeah. You know, I had an engineer tell me that if I had $5,000, now this is years ago, but he told me, if you can sing Happy Birthday and you give me $5,000, I can make you a star.
Wow.
Who is he? Where is he? How do we find him?
I'm going to get him for my wife.
And, you know,
who can't sing Happy Birthday.
It's a fact that Elvis never recorded Happy Birthday unless you go on YouTube, and you can find all kinds of recordings by Elvis Presley singing Happy Birthday that he never did, because he never recorded Happy Birthday, ever. But yet there's many, many recordings of Elvis singing Happy Birthday on YouTube. It was all done through AI, every bit of it.
Oh, wow.
So to answer your question, I kind of got off track there a little bit. To answer your question more precisely, how did I get started in AI? I've been in AI ever since I've been in the music business. Everybody has been in AI. MIDI, musical instrument digital interface, is a digital representation of a fiddle or a banjo or a piano, and it's all being triggered by black and white keys on a keyboard. But now you can use a digital MIDI device on a guitar. You can play a guitar and make it sound like a piano, or you can play a piano and make it sound like a guitar. Yeah, we've had this for years, but nobody ever questioned it, or they try to slam it or say you're cheating, or this is not real music, it's fake, and all the other hatred stuff that we see posted on a daily basis.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. This has been around for a while. It's not new. You know, we've got the Nashville Mimics coming out. You were the creator of that, which is, I'm so, honored to be a part of now as a star on the show. And now we're taking it to mainstream TV.
Y'all come and see us when you can.
Like a star that never fades, through the years we'll shine in love's serenades. Like an ancient tree rooted deep in the earth, forever will we blossom in the beauty of our world. Like a river song winding through the night, every drop a promise, every curve feels so right. With every heartbeat, we'll paint the endless skies, a masterpiece of memories where our destiny lies.
Are you kidding me? All those words you toss so easily, dreams you drew in chalk just washed away. Are you kidding me? Tell me. Are you kidding me?
Are you digging what I'm doing? Digging what I'm doing here with you? I'm trying to make you happy, trying to make all your dreams come true.
Dreams packed up in a busted truck, but a spark lit up in a dashboard glow. A new way back to every note. Strike a chord, turn the future on. Ava Bently's heart still sings every song. From broken silence to a brand new sound. Strike a chord.